All right, welcome everybody to the Vendetta Sports Daily Show. Today is March 23rd. I am Jack Saban,
I'm Anthony Miranda.
and today we're going to be going over primarily some of the March Madness matchups in the Sweet 16 here today and tomorrow, and then kind of talk a little bit about the upcoming MLB season, and then maybe touch in on this UFC fight card that we have going on this weekend. But I think first of all, we got to start with March Madness. I mean, it's every sports fan's favorite time of the year. Can never get enough college basketball. So, I mean, what have you kind of thought so far about March Madness so far, Anthony?
Um, I mean, it's been a pretty, I think, wild tournament, you could say so far with Princeton over Arizona. You had a 2-15 upset mixed in, and then you had a insane 1/16 with Fairleigh Dickinson over Purdue. And I mean, that's only the second time it's happened now in history. And besides that, I mean, I don't know, not a whole lot of 12 5 upsets this year, but I mean mainly those were the big two, and I think we've gotten some good games in between. Buzzer beater Furman. So yeah, I think it's been pretty action packed and everything. It's been good so far. I feel like it wasn't the most fun this year with brackets wise because not a lot of people had the one seed obviously, or even Princeton. So there was no perfect bracket. Those kind of went all pretty quick, but overall, I mean, I'd say it's been fun.
Yeah, I mean, all the one seeds seems like are dropping like flies. I mean, we've been talking about upsets, and then Kansas went on and lost to Arkansas. So yeah, it's definitely been a crazy first two rounds. And funnily enough, I have a family member who's a UVA fan, like a diehard UVA fan. They live in Virginia.
Hmm.
So he was already going through it after they lost to Furman. But
Yeah.
after Purdue lost, I called him and I was like, hey, at least it's not only you guys anymore. At least you guys aren't the only one seed now to lose
Hmm.
the 16 seed. And he took some comfort in that at least.
Yeah. Well,
But
at least too, after Virginia got upset that one year, the next year they won it
yeah,
all. So
they'll
I don't
definitely
think Purdue could do that, but we'll
yeah,
see.
there'll definitely be like a 30 for 30 or some documentary
Uh-huh.
on that, going from l- losing in the first round and winning it all. That just seems to be UVA's thing. They either win it
Hmm.
all or lose in the first round. It's like if they get past the round of 64, you can book them for like at least making it to the championship.
Yeah.
But all right, looking ahead at some of these matchups, let's start out the first Thursday one. We have Michigan State at Kansas State. Two teams who have been relatively hot. K State 25-9 currently in Michigan State 21-12. You have any favorites or any team you think's gonna win this one?
I feel like that's a tough one. I feel like that's might be one of the closer games, or even less unpredictable. I don't know. I wasn't too huge on this Michigan State team coming into the tournament. I had them beating USC, and I can't remember who they would have played in the second round, but I had them advancing in a couple brackets, making the Sweet 16 run. But um, they might have been Kentucky, but or no, it wasn't. But I don't know. They shoot a lot of threes. They keep saying this Tom Izzo. If Tom Izzo's the head coach, he's always good at making a deep tournament run and stuff. And well, I think they can do it because they're the type of team that has, I think, another upset in them, and they can keep riding their momentum and stuff. I do really like Kansas State, and they looked great in their last game with their two guards. Is it Keontae Johnson and Noel? I think is their other guards. But yeah, I don't know. I think probably Kansas State's the better defensive team. Um, and I think that can maybe help them in trying to slow down the Michigan State offense a little bit. And then if I think honestly Kansas State, because I'd say one of the best part about Michigan State as the team is their guard play, but I think Kansas State can outmatch and outplay them. with their own two guards who are honestly having about as good a tournament as anyone else left in the field. So I like Kansas State in that matchup.
Yeah, I find, especially once you get into these March games, I think one of the most important things is having experienced guard play, like especially guys who have been in the tournament before, because it can be, a stressful, crazy environment in these, one and done games. So having experienced guards who've kind of been there before and can kind of control the flow and tempo of the game, I think can go a long way. On the other end, I think having a coach like Tom Izzo is something that you can't really replace. That kind of experience can go a long way. And Michigan State has just kind of felt like one of those teams that has the magic going right now.
Hmm.
But I would agree. I do think the guard play of Kansas State will be a little too much for Michigan State to handle. And so, yeah, I would probably agree that I think Kansas State takes that game. And then next game we have up is an 8-4 matchup. It's Musselman, former UNR coach, and
Hmm.
UConn as the 4 seed. I'll just get this one started. I'm very high on Arkansas. I think I heard something that since Musselman has took over there, they haven't missed. I can't remember if it was the Elite Eight or the
I think
Sweet,
it's Elite Eight.
which is just absolutely crazy.
Insane.
And it's been a lot of years where it was like this year where they beat, a 1 or 2 seed, and their path
Hmm.
is just insane. Because I feel like last year they may have beat a 1 seed too, but off the top of my head, I can't remember.
Uh-huh.
Musselman just has this sort of crazy man energy that
Hmm.
the players seem to respond to. And I mean, I think it's kind of the same thing. They have, solid guard play. This Anthony Black kid as a freshman, he's an absolute baller. And they have guys, throughout the floor who just have the experience and can get it done. And so I would probably lean towards Arkansas in this game. They just seem like the hot team. And sometimes that's all you want in March.
Yeah, I think I do like Arkansas. Like that's just I had them going this far in a lot of brackets. I actually had I didn't think it's too hard to repeat champions with the whole Kansas thing. So I thought the Arkansas, if they
Yeah.
didn't lose this game, I had them losing to, or if they didn't lose last game, I had Kansas losing UConn this game. And while I really like this Arkansas team, and I dug into us, I think they can with that whole Musselman. I like their guards. They also have a good big. They got some mix of experience and a lot of freshmen. But I don't know. This UConn team is pretty good. I want to say with just that. Hold on, I'm trying to see the player's name. But last game against St. Mary's, I think St. Mary's is a great team. It's one of the top defensive teams in the entire college basketball, and they kind of just had their way with them. And then UConn themselves, I will say St. Mary's was missing a decent amount of wide open threes, but I mean UConn themselves was looking pretty strong on defense too. So while I would probably take UConn against most of the teams. Arkansas is a underseeded team or a lower seeded team that does worry me a little bit because, like you said, how hot they are right now, and then mix that with Musselman. But I just think I just the UConn's just a good team with good mix of guards, and then let me see if that's
Yeah, they have that Adama
Demo, yeah,
Sanogo
Sonogo
guy
guy
who's just a walking bucket.
who's oh my gosh, yeah. I think I was reading more his stat line so far through 2 games in this tournament is insane and insanely efficient too, with putting
Yeah,
up I
that's
think
always the
20
thing.
points.
There's a lot of
But
times you see these guys score a bunch of points, but it'll be on just god awful shooting,
uh-huh.
and it hasn't been the
Yes.
case for him.
So this will definitely be a fun game just to see how it plays out. But I think I'm gonna take the higher seed in UConn or the lower seed in UConn and no upset.
Yeah, at the very worst, I think Arkansas has shown that they're never going to be easy out either. Like
Hmm.
no matter what, they're going to give you. they're going to make you work for your win. And then looking ahead, we have a 4-9 matchup. We have FAU, who unfortunately, if I'm not mistaken, took down FDU in the
Hmm.
last round, facing off against number 4 Tennessee. I mean, I'll keep this one relatively quick. I'm going to go with Tennessee. I'm drawing a blank on, I mean, FAU's in what, the Conference USA,
Uh-huh.
what it
I think it
is.
is.
9 times out of 10, I'm going to take an SEC team over a team playing in the USA conference. It's not to discredit FAU, but I feel like Tennessee is just going to have a lot more athletes and a lot more guys who can just score the basketball and, play better defense on the other end.
Yeah, I think I mean you're kind of right. I think just I'm also going to pick the SEC team. I would say I was pretty excited for you because I thought they were the best like mid-major team in the field. And I don't think they played like I don't know. I guess they had a tough matchup against Memphis that they barely won in the first round. And then maybe yeah, I mean I think they should have beat FDU a lot more than they did. They almost lost to FDU.
Yeah, it was a
Um,
close game for what I remember.
hmm So, but I will say, is it FAU? Yeah, John L. Davis averaging 13.9. It says he's played pretty well. But yeah, for Tennessee, I mean, I think best defense in all of college basketball, or at least top five when you check Ken Palm and stuff like that. Um, I thought they were going to lose their offensive scoring and some of their defense without Sakai Ziegler because he got hurt. But I mean, team looks good. I didn't think they were gonna make it this far without that injury or with that injury. But yeah, Santiago Vescovi, that's their main scorer right now, and he's been doing well. And just overall, the team's been playing well. That defense, it's even without one of their players, is still top five. It's looking like one of the best out of the teams in the tournament. And I mean, as long as they can still score and hit their threes, we'll see how far they can go after this. It's a good matchup to have in the Sweet 16, I would say, for
Definitely.
Tennessee.
And yeah, I mean, if you're that highly rated of a defense playing in the SEC, shows me you're pretty legit because you're not getting a whole lot of, especially once you get into conference play, you're not getting a lot of
Yeah.
game games. You're going against
Hmm.
some of the top teams. And yeah, kind of like you were saying, um, Tennessee just has a lot of guys who can score the ball. They have 4 guys right now who are averaging at least 10 points. Zakai Ziegler was in there. But I think that just kind of goes to show, even with the injury, they still have plenty of guys who can, score the ball. They
Hmm.
weren't overly dependent on him, like you see some of these other top teams are on their top guys. And I think that's kind of why we haven't seen that injury, play as much of a factor as maybe people thought it would.
I'd definitely say like just when I so far in the tournament because I mean I didn't watch a lot of Tennessee basketball in the regular season, but
Yeah,
when I it reminds me of UConn a little bit, but when I watched like Tennessee, it just looks like a well-oiled machine. Like the
yeah,
team is great, but there's not like a lead guard necessarily, or someone going off.
yeah.
Like if
It's
I
like
watch that, hmm
anybody could be their leading scorer. They just always seem to have guys in the right spot and know how
hmm
to get their guys open shots. It's definitely a fluid, good basketball to watch. And then, all right, the last game of today is probably the best one. We got number 2 seed UCLA versus number 3 seed Gonzaga. I just, as a kind of belief at this point, don't really trust Gonzaga. No, they had their
hmm
Final Four run, but they beat UCLA, I think, right? On that Jalen
yeah,
Suggs half court shot.
hmm
So I think UCLA is out for revenge. I can just never fully believe in Gonzaga. Maybe I'm crazy for it, but I mean, this UCLA team has been rather dominant all season. I believe they're dealing with an injury right now as
I
well.
think I think two. Um,
Um,
One of their guards got injured, and then let me see. Let me look at the roster. And then I think their center is dealing with another injury too, but I don't know if he's healthy. Um, But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, in my main bracket, I actually have them. I I have UCLA winning it all.
Really.
But yeah, I mean, just with Gonzaga, I don't
Hmm.
know. I just can never trust them, especially in tournament time. They get a relatively easy, season schedule, and then most of the time they just get to this tournament and they just seemed outmatched, especially once they get to playing these top, Power Five conference teams.
Hmm.
Where
Yeah, I think. I mean, Gonzaga does have best offense in college basketball, but then again, they've had this for multiple seasons now and haven't made that deep run, and it's just weird. I mean, there's kind of the narrative a little bit that I didn't mind of. When they were one seeds, people put all these predictions on them or like, put all this pressure even necessarily. And now that maybe they're a three seed, they could fly under the radar a little bit and make a deep run. But it's just weird to pick this team to do it when they've had so much more talent on their teams in the past couple of years. So I would agree with you that I don't think that they are not the most reliable, and I feel like it would be tough to put all this expectations on them. And also, I'm glad you did that because if Jalen Clark didn't get injured right before the tournament, I think UCLA would have been my pick to win it.
Yeah, and
Because
then David Singleton, who I think the other guy.
okay, because
I'm
and then
pretty
I know they're big Adam or Dembona or whatever, but I don't know if he's playing. But I think
Yeah, from what I
he's
read, it sounded like he probably was only going to miss like the first game or two.
okay.
But his injury doesn't seem too serious.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
it's two of their like top three scorers.
and they're already without Jalen Clark, who's arguably like the best defender in college basketball.
Yeah, you definitely wonder because I mean, at some point, it just becomes too many injuries, and
Hmm.
you don't know if you have the guys who can come in and step up, who are playing in the biggest stage of their career.
Hmm.
So
That's
yeah,
why
I think with
I was
those
just
in mind. Oh, sorry, what?
I was just saying that's why I'm worried about UCLA a little bit, but it just hasn't looked like a problem because yeah, they've been looking great against in their first two games. I'm a West Coast guy, so I like this West Coast basketball. I think UCLA and Gonzaga always seems to be, or Gonzaga, sorry, should always be seems to be a fun matchup and stuff. Some good
Yeah,
scoring. We'll
certainly
see.
was last time.
Uh-huh. Great. Two great coaches on both sides. So we'll see. I'm excited. I think because the Zags offense, I think just it can always be, can always win them a game. They can just outscore someone as in a shootout. But I think I kind of like your pick. I'm going to stick with UCLA just to win at least one more. Hopefully the injuries don't catch up to them, but at least win one more with their great defense. And Jaime Jaquez is another one. He's not. I don't think he's been as efficient as that UConn forward. Fair, because he's probably been shooting a little bit more, but
I
I mean
doubt many
Jaquez is
players have been
yeah,
as efficient as him.
uh-huh. But he's been doing his thing. I think he's also had two great games so far.
Yeah, I'd probably still lean towards UCLA, but I'm hoping it's another one of those just classic UCLA Gonzaga matchups.
Hmm.
And that was the last game for the Thursday matchups. Let's get back. And then kicking it off on Friday, the good old Mountain West is taking on the SEC. Yes, number five seed San Diego State set to take on number one Alabama. So I go to UNR, so I've watched a lot of Mountain West basketball. Fortunately, my Wolfpack got decimated by Arizona State in the play-in game, and
Hmm.
similar to last year, almost all of the Mountain West. I mean, last year I think all four of the Mountain West teams lost in the first round, and this year San Diego State finds themselves in the Sweet 16 as a result of getting to play Charleston and Furman. Had a bit of
Yeah,
a lucky break here to get to the Sweet 16. And I love San Diego State. I think they could definitely surprise some people, but I think Bama's just going to be too much for them. I don't, I mean, San Diego State. I know that their defensive stats look really good, and I think part of that is just inflated from playing in the Mountain West. You're just playing in a conference where guys are making less shots and are just overall less efficient scorers. Jabari Smith, or not Jabari Smith, Brandon Miller, I think is set to just go off this game. And San Diego State has a couple guys. They have Matt Bradley, and then what's that big man's name? San Diego State definitely has some guys who
Mensa, I think.
can get a bucket for them, but overall, I just think Alabama's gonna just be too much for them to handle, and shouldn't necessarily be a close game.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. I think, I mean, I like San Diego State as well. I kind of like the San Diego State, like St. Mary's teams, like little small schools, but play great defense and also kind of team scoring, not a specific guy. But I think, like you said, it's tough. I think San Diego State, I guess, have got a good draw and a bad draw. Probably one of the easiest paths to the Sweet 16, but then toughest Sweet 16 draw when you get
Yeah,
Alabama.
kind of evens
So,
out.
yeah, I mean, um, I think, I mean, I guess to me a little bit, it's not will Alabama win, but by how much? Because am a little curious maybe if that San Diego State defense can slow the game down and kind of slow down Alabama itself. I'm trying to think. I don't know what would San Diego State's defense against three pointers be. That'd be interesting to look at, especially because Alabama shoots a lot of those, but. I mean, yeah, too much offense, I think, for Alabama, even against a good San Diego State defense. And then Alabama plays some great defense too. And I don't know if San Diego State can quite score on that level that they need to. But I will say I'm going to be super interested. Brandon Miller, who might be the number one. Well, sorry, I forgot Wembanyama might be the first college player
Yeah,
drafted in this.
women's
Yeah,
too.
might be the first college player.
Yeah,
Is what I was thinking. Drafted in this next upcoming draft, has
how he's
not had
playing right
two good
now,
games. Yeah, I think
crazy. That whole
only
scoring
took
with
five
him.
shots. Only took 5 shots that first round. Didn't score, 0 points, and then I think second round didn't have a whole lot of points and was pretty inefficient. So we'll see.
So yeah, I mean, I think you're right. There's definitely a proven formula with some of these smaller teams that play, great defense and hit threes. It's just SDSU hasn't played a team like Bama. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they've played an SEC team, and then you're going up and playing, the number one SEC team.
Yeah,
So it's definitely interesting to see how that defense holds up when you're just going against guys who can score the ball at a much higher will. But yeah,
hmm
I'm picking Bama here. I think Bama should be able to handle business and win by a relatively decent margin. My dad actually
yeah. I
called me.
wonder what the spread is. Uh-huh. Oh, I'm
It's
sorry.
it's -7.5 for Bama right
Okay.
now. My dad called me last night because one of my roommates, he's 21, so he set up like a William Hill account. My dad called me,
Yeah,
have him place a bet for him to have Bama cover. It's like the only game he's betting on.
really.
Yeah, and I'm initially from San Diego, so that's where he lives.
Uh-huh.
So he's watched a lot of their games this year. He's just like, Bama's going to cover. So it's the
Yeah,
one bet
I
he's
think
doing.
7. I think I'd. I mean, I think I'd take it too. Yeah, 7, seven and a
Yeah,
half.
if
But
I were betting on that game, I would definitely take that over SDSU plus seven
uh
and a half.
one more thing though, because you would think I like that too, because you would think Brandon Miller's due for a finally, I'm here game. Like, it's March. Start letting people know, and you go also from him because pretty soon you might get a Creighton matchup next round, or then Tennessee or someone in the round after that. Um, and you want to start building. You want your best player to start, building momentum before they get to that championship game because that's the
Yeah, this
goal.
is the game where he wants to start picking.
But and it might be, we'll see. It might be a little tough to necessarily get that going against the San Diego State defense, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think Bama will try to definitely get him going early, get some
hmm
plays drawn up for him. Sometimes you just need to like visualize and see you actually making shots, and then sometimes
Yeah.
it's just that's all it takes. All right, and then the next game on the Friday slate, number 1 Houston takes on 5 Miami. So right off the bat, this one seems kind of tough because Houston has not looked like the dominant, great
Hmm.
team that they did throughout the regular season. I mean, they struggled versus drawing a blank on who that 16 seed they played was. But my God, watching that game
Yeah.
was brutal. It was just miss shot after miss shot after miss shot. I mean, the 16 seed they were playing, I think it was they shot 5 of 35 from 3 and were down by less than 10 for like the entire second half.
That's wild.
It was like, yeah, Houston got incredibly lucky that this team they were going up against just completely forgot how to shoot. It was Northern Kentucky. Yeah, Northern
Okay.
Kentucky Norse. Houston ended up winning by 11, but I mean they did not. It was a win they had where it was just they did not look good at all. They couldn't hit a three to save their life, and then their next game was against Auburn. And to their credit, they did handle Auburn. So it's like I don't really know what version of Houston I'm going to get
Hmm.
here. If I'm going to get the Houston that is making all their shots versus Auburn, or the Houston that can't hit a shot versus 16 seed.
Yeah. And honestly, even that Auburn game was pretty shaky in the first half. Even I
Yeah,
think
it was close
Auburn
for a
might have.
while.
Yeah, Auburn. I don't know if Auburn necessarily took the lead in the half, but yeah, it was very close. And then I mean, obviously it's March and upsets happen, but I always like to think, a bad, not a bad team, because I actually was liked Auburn, but when Houston's so in the upper echelon of teams that sure another team can stay with them, but not for so long. Eventually they'll break it open, and they did through free throws. That I think they shot a vast amount of free throws that game, but. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm a Houston guy. I think Houston's the best team in college basketball. That was my team before the season, and then that's my team. I have them playing Bama in my bracket, in my main bracket, and I had Houston winning. But I'd be lying if I said I was confident in the super confident in that because, yeah, like those aren't the two games you've wanted to see so far in the tournament. That doesn't look like a national champion, I'll say necessarily right now.
Yeah,
But
especially the first game.
hmm
It was brutal. I was like, my God. I'm actually going to lean towards Miami here. I think they're a little bit of a harder team.
uh-huh.
I mean, they had a close game versus Drake, who I think was actually a very solid team. And then
Uh-huh.
they came out and pretty convincingly beat 4 seed Indiana. So I'm gonna go with the upset here. I don't think we're done with upsets yet.
No.
It makes it a little bit more interesting. Because yeah, like I said, I mean I honestly don't know what version of Houston I'm getting.
hmm I mean, I like the Miami. I honestly, I thought just Miami is another good run. I think this is their second year going to the Sweet 16 back to back. But I mean, their offense is one of the better ones in college basketball. It's not necessarily a top 10 one, but I think top 25 at least for sure.
Yeah, they got
But they're
that
deep.
Isaiah Wong kid.
Uh-huh. He's who's good. He played great last tournament too.
Yeah, he's a
Um,
baller.
I just don't believe their defense isn't good. And I think it might finally catch up to him because I think that they could have lost that Drake game, and then I just never believed in Indiana, but they did play well in that game. I just think Houston, hopefully their offense starts clicking a little bit, and then I think Houston has the defense to maybe slow down that Miami attack a little bit. But this Houston definitely wants to control the pace of this game. Like they don't really want to get in a shootout because, like you've been saying, the offense hasn't been there, so it's gonna be tough to win a
That has
shootout.
not been a recipe of success for them. But to their
Hmm.
credit, they have Houston, that is, has been able to hunker down defensively in the 2 games that they have. They've at least, if their offense hasn't been getting going, they've at least been able to hold teams
Hmm.
to a few points. But the next matchup, by far the weirdest, funkiest one, we got number 15 Princeton taking on number 6 Creighton. And if you had this matchup in your Sweet 16, you're lying.
You're lying.
You're
Yeah.
lying. You're one of those guys who's just, or if you're one of those people that was like, Man, I had Princeton in my Sweet 16,
Uh-huh.
but I switched it last second.
No, I was dumbfounded when Princeton pulled off the upset. I was so mad.
No,
Also, because that broke my like I only had one left, but that was through 5 games, which is the longest. Kind of sad, but only 5 games is the longest I've had a perfect bracket for. And Princeton pulled off that upset, and I was like,
yeah,
oh, I'm done.
that's how it
No
usually goes.
millions. Yeah.
I was talking about it because I was saying like that Princeton over Arizona win might to me be more impressive than the FDU over Purdue, just because
Hmm.
realistically, what athletes, like what pure athletes is Princeton like realistically recruiting?
Hmm.
Like at least at
And
a school like FDU, they can be mainly focusing on athletes, but it's like Princeton, you've got all these, I'm sure, academic requirements they have to meet. And it's like you're most of the time you're recruiting a student first, athlete second.
yeah, I think I just look at the other thing that just is insane. What? How does a 2 seed lose? I'm looking at the box score of that Arizona game. And Princeton shot 4 of 25 from three. They shot 16%. That's not an upset like shooting
No,
box score. Like that's
not
just
even a little bit.
Arizona played so bad and so annoying. Oh God, yeah, that because I liked Arizona. I had them going far. Maybe that's my fault for
A lot
believing
of
in
people did.
Pac-12 teams, but yeah, that was just a wild one. I don't know. What do you think? And then who'd they play? I knew as soon as they won that, and because they played Missouri in the second round, and Missouri, I mean, they're good enough to win one. They got Kobe Brown, but that team is very
Yeah,
extremely beatable.
Princeton
So
kind of handled them.
as to, I knew because you can't as soon as you beat Arizona, you have no momentum. I knew they were beating Missouri, but I don't know. Do you think they got one more in them?
I'm, I think they've gotten a. I think they have a pretty decent matchup here in playing Creighton.
Hmm.
I I don't know. My mind's telling me no, it ends here, but my heart is like, come on, you want to pick Princeton. You want
Uh-huh.
to pick them again. And I mean, kind of like what you were saying to that Arizona game. I was in LA a few weeks ago with some of my roommates, and we were just looking for something to do, and so we watched a USC UCLA game, and in that
Hmm.
game, Arizona, or sorry, USC Arizona game.
Okay.
In that game, Arizona just was unstoppable. I mean, they had that big man trying to pull his name up.
Yeah. Uh,
That that's
Azulis. I don't know. I don't know how to
yeah,
necessarily pronounce the last name, but
Azulis Tubelis.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they had him, and he was just absolutely feasting. I was watching this team, and I was like, okay, like this team can make some serious noise. But
Mhm. That's also in that Princeton game. That's what made me mad. Azulis didn't touch the ball, in like their last 3 or 4 possessions, or if he touched it, he didn't get a shot
it was
off.
the same
It's
thing
like,
with Eddie or Edie in Purdue.
hmm,
They lost.
you
It's
got to
just I don't
give
know why these teams
feed
don't get
him.
guys their
Hmm.
best guys the ball late.
Yeah, that's I will never understand that at any level of competition. In I mean, maybe baseball doesn't count, but yeah, football, basketball. I will never understand that mindset of not getting your best players the ball.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Princeton again though. I
Okay.
I believe I'm just doing it for the memes at this point. I more just want it to happen.
Uh-huh. I think I mean I like the Creighton team. I think this is about where I had them going. I actually had them losing to Arizona a lot of brackets in the next round. I mean not in the next round, but even in this round or maybe getting the win. But I like they got a it's almost like a Houston a little bit like you were saying earlier. This Creighton team, they can be phenomenal, but they're very inconsistent and otherwise they can just look bad. Like I think, let me look. Yeah, they got a 13 kind of ranked defense, 23 offense. So I mean, they're pretty well balanced, but it's what team's going to show up because they dropped so many games that they shouldn't have this year. Hence why they went to a 6 seed. I'll say I like their center. I think 7-footer Cockbrenner. They got Baylor Scheinman, who good 3-point shooter that transferred from South Dakota State last year. So they got some offense. And don't they have the younger Nemhard? Yeah, the younger Nemhard brother. Um, so we'll see. I think this team might be too well balanced. I think to beat, or so I think they can beat Princeton, but I don't know. Princeton already's, they might just get a third, and
Yeah,
Princeton already showed they can win without hitting their 3-pointers at an elite
been the
clip.
underdog twice already.
Uh-huh. And
And
what happens if they get that 3-point going too?
yeah, and you were talking about Creighton being hit or miss, and I feel like it's a double-edged sword, especially once you get into March, because it's like if you're hot in that moment, you're gonna beat pretty much any team. Then on the flip end, you have one cold night, and it's just
Hmm.
all right. Well, it's a one and done. So
And I guess even fair, we're saying, can Princeton do another one? Can Creighton? They haven't shown that else. They put two good games together. Do they have a third one in them? Because if they had a third one in them, all a regular season, they wouldn't be a 6 seed right now. So,
that is a very good point. But looking ahead to the final matchup in the Sweet 16, again, another really good one. At least we're hoping it is. Number 3 seed Xavier and 2 seed Texas. Funnily enough, because I didn't only make one bracket, the UCLA one was my main bracket. I think I made like
mhm.
4 in total. But my highest bracket, it's in like the 97th percentile right now, has
Nice.
Texas winning it all.
Okay. Um, I liked I like Texas too. I think I had them win a couple brackets. I think coming out of I'm a big Houston guy, like I said, so I took Houston to come out the Midwest a lot. But besides that, I had Texas was my team, and I like the squad. I'll say I'm gonna take Texas in this matchup. I know Xavier has a really good offense, but yeah. So seventh overall offense, 64 defense, good coach, and I think Sean Miller. But I don't know. I think I like Texas. I think they just have multiple good starters that at different like they have forward guards and bigs. So I like the mix to the variety of where they're coming from. Just the only thing that scares me is I think against Colgate in the first round they shot like super efficient from three, and then last round I think they shot like 1 for 13 or something, but they still got the win too. Um, but I expect. I just feel like the Texas defense could maybe slow down the Xavier offense a little bit better, um, and I think Texas can score well enough to keep a minute with against a high-powered offense like Xavier. So
Yeah, I
also
mean,
I like.
Texas.
I,
Oh, sorry. Keep
I
going.
was just gonna say one last thing. I was gonna say also I think finally, I haven't feel like we haven't seen a Texas like deep run in a while,
Yeah.
and they finally made the Sweet 16. So why not make it one more Elite Eight? I don't mind. I like seeing some Longhorns late in March.
Yeah, I mean, my dad, funnily enough, he attended West Virginia, another Big 12 school. So I've kind of grown up not liking or being forced to not like Texas.
Yeah,
But
horns down.
yeah, horns down. But I can't really ignore this team. I mean, they kind of follow the recipe I was talking about with great guard play with Marcus Carr.
Hmm.
Weird name, but Serge Abari
Serge
Brown.
Abar.
When I
Yeah.
first heard that, I was like, his name is Serge Abari. But yeah, both
Hmm.
of those guys, Marcus Carr averaging about 16, Serge Abari averaging about 13. And, Carr also a menace on defense. He's averaging 1.7 steals, which is
Hmm.
crazy. And then, yeah, I mean, down low, they have Dylan Disu, who seems
Yeah.
almost like a Jarrett Allen part two. Seems
Hmm.
like another version of him, just a great shot blocker. And yeah, I think also once I get to some of these matchups, I kind of tend to trust. Sorry, I tend to trust conferences a little bit more too.
Okay.
Playing in the Big 12, and you're a bit more proven. The Big East isn't horrible, obviously, but I feel like some of the you got teams like Villanova and Seton Hall who kind of took a step back this year. St. John's
Hmm.
wasn't great as well. So I tend to get to the point where I tend to trust just more proven because both of these teams are proven obviously within their conference, but I think overall just tend to like Texas a little bit more. I think they're a little bit more proven,
Uh-huh.
shown that they can win on bigger levels already.
Yeah. And then because I mean, for I seen like obviously I knew uh uh Serge Ibaka Rice, Marcus Carr, that Timmy Allen, and I even that Tyrese Hunter. And then so maybe it's my fault because like I've been kind of keeping an eye on Texas, but not like watching every game, obviously. But that yeah, Dessou, I don't I don't know. He was because he was only averaging 9 before that, so his name didn't jump off the page to me when I was doing all like the March Madness research. But he had that 28 points last game too. So if you got a
He
team
was
like that, like you were
unstoppable.
saying, yeah, like almost every jumper,
It was just
anything he wanted.
hit him in the post, turnaround jumper, and he made
Hmm.
it every single time. I was like, holy moly. He looked like Kevin Durant.
Yeah, in that Longhorns jersey.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah. So I mean, I'm going with Texas too, but I just think that's another thing when you got people like that can go up for 28 is,
Yeah,
it's
you
a
got like
problem.
a guy who's considered your fifth option, probably offensively. He's mostly a
Hmm.
defensive guy, comes in and gives you that kind of production. I think it just goes to show kind of how well coached they are and well disciplined. So yeah, I got Texas winning that game, and with that, that is, I believe, all the Sweet 16 matchups.
Yeah.
Real quick, do you have a? I guess the last thing we'll go over. Do you have a Final Four slash championship that you
Uh-huh.
got?
I've noticed, which is probably wrong, but just comparing, I always go too much chalk, but um, I'm gonna stick with it. My teams are still in it. I got Alabama, Houston national championship for sure. So those my two 1 seeds are gonna be in there. I like, I think I like Tennessee to maybe get out of the East. Um, But they also say it's also statistically not a lot of you don't ever see same conference matchups in the Final Four. So that Alabama Tennessee SEC matchup makes me a little worried. But it's been a weird year so far, so we'll keep it. I'll go that yeah Alabama Tennessee Houston, and then as much as I love UCLA, and I think if Jalen Clark never got injured, they might have been my pick to win it all. I think I'm gonna take I think I'm gonna take UConn to make it out. So
Okay,
those would
well,
be my four.
you were saying you didn't want to go chalk. Well, I'll do you one even better. This is my Texas, my best bracket right now. The Final
Uh-huh.
Four for this one: Gonzaga and Texas, pretty normal. I feel like nothing too crazy. And on
Hmm.
the other side, I got San Diego State playing Michigan State.
That's what you had in that bracket?
Yep,
Oh
that's what
my.
I have right now. My Final Four.
That's that bracket actually too. And you said that was the 97 percentile one?
Yeah, I can check again real quick. What's it at right now? Yeah, it's in the
That's a
97th percentile right now.
that's a fire bracket too, because that's honestly too. I mean, sure, if you get everything right, it's going to be good. But I'm saying those specific teams that you're choosing to, like, you even go 3 for 4, like that'll be a lot of points. That bracket will be boosted up even
Yeah, that's
higher.
what's saving me right now is I have all four. I have all four of my teams still in it because
Hmm.
there's been so many high seas that have lost. A lot of people's
And
Final Four is
oh yeah,
busted.
and you had Texas winning that one.
Yeah,
So Texas, what was the national championship? Because
Texas, Michigan State.
Michigan State. Yeah. I've seen some people already now that when they reset, after this Sweet 16, some people, oh yeah, I've seen Michigan State making the
Yeah,
Final
Michigan State.
Four
They've
and
just been
stuff in the
hot. They got
championship.
that weird magic to them. It feels
Hmm.
like sometimes that's all you need.
It's always also too real quick. I like I mean, he's a legend, so Tom Izzo deserves that. But they say like Tom Izzo in the tournament, Tom Izzo in the tournament. But like that other team we are talking about has that magic. They need to start Arkansas. They need to start talking about Musclemen like that apparently, because
Yeah,
that's if they go like this will be like 3 Elite Eights in a row. I think if they win this game, like that's insane.
yeah. I didn't believe that when I heard it. I was like,
Hmm.
"Wait, really? He's made it to the Elite Eight every year?" Yeah, we definitely miss him here in here in Reno.
Uh-huh.
Definitely a great coach. We definitely miss him, but good for him because yeah, I did not. I mean, I knew Arkansas had been good recently, but when I heard
Uh-huh.
that, I was like, "Wow, that is crazy."
It's even cooler because he's been doing it from like different seeds too. It's not like a
Yeah,
straight like, oh, I'm a one or two seed every year, bang, always, at least you're doing your job. But no, he's doing it from been a super low seed, a middle, like 4 or 5 seed, and then, like now, what, an 8 seed
Yeah, so he's done it
or
from
9 seed
multiple
maybe.
different
But hmm
he's done it from multiple different seeds, kind of proving the versatility that he has as a coach, I think.
hmm
But yeah, unless you had any other thoughts about the March Madness, I think we can wrap up that segment.
No, I mean, it's good.
All right. So yeah, we're hoping for a great slate of games, today and tomorrow. I know I'll be watching once I'm done with work. But with that, we can move on into baseball because MLB opening day is, what is it, like 7 days away, 6 days
I don't know.
away?
I know it's right around the corner.
Yeah. MLB opening day. Why am I? Yes, 7 days, March 30th.
7 days.
We have opening day. I mean, the World Baseball Classic just ended. USA
Yeah.
unfortunately lost. The internet broke when Otani pitched to Mike Trout. I'm
Mike
sure you
Trout.
got that. And
I
Shohei
saw, yeah.
threw like 104 miles an hour, apparently.
Well, yeah, I was able to watch some of those games actually throughout the tournament, and which was fun. That was like my first time as a baseball fan watching like the World Baseball Classic, or like not even just like casually watching, but trying to actually watch.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that. I thought it was a whole fun tournament, a whole like fun spectacle. Um, and I don't know, that's tough. I was rooting for besides obviously USA, but I was rooting for Mexico. So Japan,
Yeah, when I
Japan just double whammied me. They got
yeah, when I did
also
my article, when I was like ranking, because I did like a ranking of the top 5 World Baseball Classic teams, I had Mexico
okay.
as like my sleeper pick to
Uh-huh.
win it all. It's like my main
Almost.
was like either USA or Dominican Republic because both those teams were just loaded. And then
hmm
I had like Mexico as my sleeper team to win it all because of their pitching. And so when I saw that they were 1 game away from the championship, I was like, oh, that'd be so nice if
Uh-huh.
Mexico actually does it. But
I was say they lost off the walk-off too in the
yeah,
ninth, and then but I mean, and then Japan got it done. I mean, they beat them both. So that was
yeah.
fun though. I enjoyed that.
There's been a lot of controversy too. I mean, even within Vendetta on the World Baseball Classic and if it should still be played, especially after these injuries,
Oh yeah.
Edwin Diaz and Jose Altuve injuries.
What I've seen
Yeah,
though is the players
the
from
players
these
love it.
countries. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
so
the players love it. So
I
that
guess
should be all that matters right there.
exactly. I guess unless but the franchises are the ones paying them the millions, and it's hurting. Obviously, it hurts the franchise, the ability to make money as well as the team's success when players like that get injured. But yeah, if it seems like the players are get to play for their home
I'm
country,
gonna be
or
honest, I don't care too much about the owners and general managers. Those
yeah,
guys, they make
same.
enough money and they don't give a damn about the players. They trade them in a
hmm
heartbeat. So I don't think the players should be there withholding playing for their country
I
out
was
of
just say,
respect. Out of respect for a guy who will trade them for prospects that they didn't even know existed before at the start of that day.
hmm I think too, yeah, like you said, if you know, to the chance to play for a country at that level, doing the sport you love and you've put your whole life's work into, um, that's probably, not too many people get to do that. So
Yeah,
I
and
would say it's pretty hard to turn that down.
especially for some guys who you know that you're a mid-level guy, not the greatest player in the world, and you play on the Cincinnati Reds or you play on the
hmm
Chicago Cubs. It's like, well, you're probably not going to be playing meaningful playoff baseball anytime soon. So it's like the World Baseball Classic may be your best chance to like play on a big stage, play for your
Uh-huh.
country, actually play baseball that has some meaning. So it's like, who are you to say, oh, you can't play it because I'm a fan and I don't want you to get hurt?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's pretty stupid and childish, honestly. Like,
hmm
players love it. Let them do it. I mean, there have
There
been
you
some
go.
guys who said they'd rather win a World Baseball Classic than a World Series.
I saw that. Yeah.
So it's like clearly the players love it, and if they love it, then and you can tell on the field, like the emotion they show
hmm
after every little thing. it's fun to watch. And,
That's what I
it's
was saying. That's
better
also
energy.
I 100% agree. I was gonna say the entertainment value, but the shoot, I can't think of the word, but the display put on the field, yeah, it makes it a lot more entertaining to watch when they're that evocative and
Yeah.
yeah, having it looks like they're having a lot of fun and it means a lot.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed watching it. I mean, I tried to watch it when I could,
Hmm.
especially the USA games, but they unfortunately lost. But now that the World Baseball Classic is over, we can now focus on the start of the MLB season. I know I'm very much looking forward to it. My Phillies,
Okay.
unfortunately, lost in the World Series last year to the Astros. I know me and Andrew are probably still recovering from that. That was
Hmm.
not fun, but
My
you have any
real
closing?
quick, I would say my friend's a Phillies fan, or sorry, he's a Philadelphia fan. So he's more bigger football guy. So, but I kind of like the Eagles, just because he's always been rooting for him. I mean Philly, that's Phillies and the Eagles.
It was
Tough.
rough, man. I was asking for one.
Uh-huh.
Like, come on, man. Just
That's
I was
I don't
fine
think
not
that'd be
getting
too
the
much to ask.
Yeah, I was fine not getting the Phillies just because that run just to get to the World Series in
Hmm.
itself was legendary, and I'll never forget it. Like, we weren't even supposed to be in the World Series,
Yeah.
so just the fact that we made it was fine, and we lost, and I was like, okay, I'm fine with this. The Astros were just a much better team, but then the Eagles came out and lost too, and especially how they lost. I
Hmm.
was just like, oh man, you got to be kidding me! Like, we're gonna end the season on that holding call.
Hmm.
It was rough, but we've made some moves this offseason. I'm excited. I'm
Uh-huh.
hoping we can repeat the success from last year.
I will say, how much maybe not emphasis, but how much stake do you put into these spring training games at all?
Spring training,
Nothing.
I don't put too much emphasis. I mean, I think I really only put some emphasis on it if a guy does like bad. Because it's
Okay.
like if you're doing bad,
Might carry over a little
well,
bit.
and even then, I don't put like too much emphasis, but I
Uh-huh.
put more emphasis on someone doing bad in spring training than if they do good. Because it's like, well, if you're
Good.
doing bad against this level of competition, then it's like,
Okay.
well, I mean, it'd be weird for you to just all of a sudden do better against the best of the best. But usually, I don't hold too much stock in it. I think it
Hmm.
still serves a purpose. I'm not like saying get rid of spring
Yeah,
training.
yeah, yeah.
I think
I
it's
got
still
you.
great, for the younger guys come up and get some time, but I don't normally like watch spring training and I'm like, oh, this guy's gonna be hot to start the year.
Uh-huh. All right. Well, what teams I don't know, what teams are you kind of predicting to do well? What are you looking at for this year?
I can give a early World Series prediction.
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to think for a second. I don't want to pick the Astros to repeat, even
I
though it just
know.
seems like I should because they really
Seems
didn't get
like that.
too much. I mean, they lost Verlander, but I think in the NL, I'm just thinking about the NL East and how loaded that division is. Braves, Phillies, Mets. I think I'd probably go boring, go with the Dodgers in the NL.
Okay.
I think this year they're able to stay a bit more healthy. And then in the AL, I'm gonna get weird. I'm gonna go with the Blue Jays. I think
Really?
I think they're a lot. All of them are a year older now. I think they're haunted by the travesties of last year in the playoffs, and
Hmm.
that what was it, like 9, 8 run lead they blew, something like
Something
that.
bad.
Yeah, so I think this is the year they put it together as a unit. And plus, I mean, you got to get a little weird. I don't want to go too chalk.
Yeah, I got you.
Go like Dodgers Astros again.
Okay.
How about you? You got any?
I mean, like I said, I know my baseball knowledge will will get better. I know obviously the in and outs of the sports. I know that really well, but when it comes to that necessarily like the players and all the rosters outlook, I feel like my baseball knowledge will get better towards the end of the season when I get to see everyone start playing. So I don't really have any. I haven't been too tuned in with like all the moves and stuff. I guess I'd probably go with Dodgers. Also because I'm a fan, so that might be biased. And then,
Are you
I mean,
from
AL.
you
No,
said
no, I'm from Sacramento, but my dad's from LA, so he's a Dodgers fan, and but my mom's a Giants fan, so it's kind of split like
yeah, I
between.
grew up in San Diego, so I grew up around a lot of,
Uh-huh.
Padre and Dodger fans and then people who hate the Dodgers. So
Yeah. That's why it's Sacramento's because it's such a good rivalry too for the Giants and Dodgers. So, and Sacramento seems pretty split with down the middle almost with Dodgers versus Giants. So I always fun. It's always fun to me because baseball, I prefer like NFL and NBA over MLB. So it's like my tertiary sport. So I like seeing people get super like not aggravated but intense with the rivalry and stuff.
yeah,
But I would say I guess. I mean, I have no idea. Yeah, I see Astros would be the easy answer for me. Um, Maybe the Red Sox. I guess I'll just follow you. Do we just have the same ones then? Because you said Dodgers and Blue Jays, but
yeah, that's all right. I mean, I'm probably going to be wrong anyway, so it was just an way too early
uh-huh.
predictions. I mean, you
Predictions.
never know what's going to happen with trades and injuries.
I'll ask you one quick thing because I do like I'm a A's fan though. That was my favorite team growing up. I don't get to root for them, or I never at least get to root
Yeah,
for them after one round of the playoffs if we do make it. How do how's that looking at all, or is it just bottom of the barrel this season?
it's typical A's fashion. You guys
Yeah.
refuse to pay anyone, and
Hmm.
let me see if I can pull up your roster. But you guys lost most of your good players again
I
in
had,
free agency. I think I saw
yeah,
something like how much money you guys spent. I think the MLB I think like Rob Manfred needs to like do something and say something to is Billy Brown. I think your guys still. I forget who's running it, but they need to
hmm
say something because at this point, I think it's just disgraceful to this constantly spend money. And it's not like how it was. It's not like you're in the world's smallest market. You're
hmm
in Oakland, you're not. I mean, you're in an area where you could have some market value, and now they might apparently move to
to
Vegas.
Vegas.
But it's like if I was Rob Manfred or if I was the commissioner, I'd be like, why would I let you move to Vegas? You
Hmm
refuse to spend money in any sort of facet. Why would I send you to the biggest, one of the biggest, sports markets in
hmm
America when you've proven time and time again that even when you have the money, you're just not going to spend it. Like this isn't
Um,
Moneyball anymore. You're not, having to shave pennies and dimes.
hmm is MLB looking at expansion, or is they just looking to maybe move a team to Vegas?
I'm not sure I've heard anything about expansion, but I think they're just
Okay,
looking
just
to get
moving.
to Vegas.
Hmm
And Oakland right now would be the number one suitor. Another thing, real quick though, I'm sure you've heard of all the rule changes, the pitch clock and bases and
Oh
stuff like
yeah,
that.
that'd be
What
uh-huh.
are kind of your thoughts on it? Because I know it's another thing in Vendetta that people kind of seem split on, and there's some hot opinions and hot takes.
Um, like I said, I'm pretty uh when it comes to baseball because I played it and like my uncles, my dad played it and they all coached baseball too, so I got all that. I'm kind of a purist a little bit and like unwritten rules guy a little bit. I think I don't love the pitch clock um for a couple reasons, but just overall, I would say I'm not like the biggest fan of the pitch clock, but I guess at the end of the day, if you want the sport to be a little more accessible and entertaining for the casual viewer and to try to get more fans, then it's not the worst. I think it'll be, and it's pretty hard to judge off just the spring training and stuff like that. So I think getting a full season of it, that's a good sample size. I don't think it's a bad first idea though, or attempt at maybe fixing an issue of pacing in a game. I think it could be improved or taken out maybe after this season because you'll have a full sample size of what worked and what didn't, the problems that came with it, the benefits. So,
Yeah, see, baseball has to do something. I mean, it has
hmm
as the by far the oldest average age. The average Major League Baseball fan is 53 years old, and they have to do something to get younger. Because I mean, at the end of the day, they don't care about the older fan anymore. They need to
Hmm.
start getting in younger kids and get them to start enjoying and watching baseball. And you can't do that when, your games are 3.5 hours long,
Hmm.
2.5 on a good day. It's like, so
Uh-huh.
I actually agree with the pitch clock. I think it's a good idea. I think they maybe went too drastic with it too quick.
I
Like
think
I
it's a
don't
little
I
quick.
don't think you can go
Uh-huh.
from no pitch clock at all to like what is it, 8 or is it 15 now? I forget.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think you can go from no pitch clock at all to just all of a sudden having these guys have to be ready.
Uh-huh. I think it's a player safety thing too, just a little bit. You got to think a lot of these pitchers have never had to do this in their entire career. And yeah,
Yeah.
they're completely thrown into, something new. And,
Yeah,
I
15
just think
seconds with
maybe
no runners on base, 20 with runners on.
20 with one. Yeah, with their own arms and the batter safety too. But
Yeah, so I think it was something that was going to happen eventually, but I think just they went a bit too drastic too quick where you have these guys who have never had a pitch clock before and then all of a sudden they have 15 seconds. And even for the hitters, I mean it throws the hitters off too, but
hmm.
overall I like it. Well, maybe not like it, but I understand why they're doing it
Hmm.
because you have to speed the pace of the game up and they've tried just about everything else short of this at this point and it, hasn't worked. Even the reliever minimum thing, because that was the most annoying thing to watch. Is so they bring in a relief pitcher, go to commercial, he throws to one batter, bring in another relief pitcher,
Yeah.
another 3 4 minutes of commercials. So I mean, I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. They just got to try to get younger kids and younger audience to start watching baseball because
Hmm.
baseball is a dying sport right now. As much as I hate to admit it.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, if you take a look at NBA and NFL, like the other competition, even hockey's been getting more popular recently too. But yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was definitely something they needed to do at some point. And I know like Trey hates the pitch clock. I've seen some of the
Uh-huh.
articles he's written on it. But but that's the thing. Like MLB isn't really trying to cater towards guys like Trey anymore. It's they got to start doing stuff to get. 'Cause I mean, like realistically, what like 15, 16-year-old kid is going to sit down and watch a baseball game start to finish?
Hmm.
Like maybe 1 out of 10.
I feel like the issue is too, it's America's game, it's America's past. It's been so ingrained in society of like played a specific way and stuff. I think the MLB has been one of the worst leagues at trying to progress forward and make changes and evolve compared to just throughout the history of the NBA or the NFL that is constantly evolving and changing and trying new things. To where I think baseball has been getting away with kind of sticking in the past and sticking to their guns. And then now finally it is a bit time to change. And I don't know if this is the best league at implementing certain things to progress forward.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think they've kind of been behind the curve in terms of, trying to market towards a younger audience. And I think it's definitely coming to bite them in the butt. Now they're kind of trying to just throw shit on a wall and see what
Hmm.
sticks. But we are at an hour. We're over an hour here. Unless there was anything else you wanted to touch on real quick or talk about.
No, just the excited for some. I forgot the games are today. Yeah, Thursday. We get some excited for some March Madness. Here it
Yeah, that's
goes.
what I was saying. I
Kick
forgot
it off again.
before I started looking. Yeah, we're looking forward to a great day of college basketball. But this was again the Vendetta Sports Daily Show, March 23rd, going over some college basketball and the start of the MLB season. This was again Jack Saban.
Anthony Miranda.
And yeah, make sure to, check out Vendetta Sports, subscribe to our YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. I think I'm getting them all. And yeah, I mean, make sure to check the site out, read some of our articles. And yeah,